Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Demo on Adobe Analytics Training. Giving a short introduction about myself. So I will be the trainer for this entire Adobe Analytics course. So I had been working on this technology with Adobe Analytics reporting and Adobe tag management solutions like DTM and Launch, and like for 6 extensive years. And and I have actually given the entire career of mine towards this domain. So I had the exposure of working in-house with several global Fortune 100 companies, which includes companies from the technology product domain, from the healthcare industry, and even currently I'm serving an insurance MNC. Um, so I had been in these all these roles. One thing in common that I have done is I have provided the business with KPIs and metrics based on which they could decide upon some tangible course of action and insights which could benefit the business and answer their questions. So I'm a computer engineer by profession and a marketing postgrad, and I had been doing what I do post my postgrad in marketing. So with a combination of this thing, I think this is a domain which I really am able to relate well. And even while I do so, I had been an avid freelancer, and I've been writing blogs for my clients. And I think I've been doing that for quite a number of years. I think 2013, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So even apart from that, I'm keen into digital marketing concepts like SEO, SEM, social media, content marketing. I actually even started my career with web designing through WordPress, Drupal, CMS, and currently, I'm also curious about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and any other latest emerging technologies. So I'm kind of fascinated towards those. I keep on studying about those technologies in my off time. And below are some of the awards and accolades that I have gathered throughout my career, both educational, academic, and professional. So that's all about me. So now we'll talk a little bit more about what is the scope of this particular demo and what you can expect out of this, the session. So I'll be starting with a short brief about how the web analytics and the tag management solution started off, and the evolution of these tools and the market, and why do we need this kind of tool like Adobe Analytics or even any other competition tools as a tool, and we will also get a glimpse of the report from Adobe Tools. I will talk a little bit more about what is a TMS or a tag management solution, why do we need that, what's the usage, and importantly, we will also take a look at a real-time Adobe image beacon from a website of my choice. So I will be also telling you what are the different components of that image beacon. I will be talking about custom Adobe variables because in our field of implementation for Adobe Analytics via Launch or any other TMS for that sake, custom tracking of certain data points is very essential, and it's a very regular area of job. So I will be talking about that, and later on I will also be talking about dimensions and metric within the Adobe Analytics reports. I will be sharing a little bit of an reporting glimpse, and I'll be telling you what is dimension, what is metric, and how do we look at it. Then lastly, we will also be talking about debugging. How do we debug the an image beacon, and what do we get out of it? What are the steps, etc. So moving on to the next slide. So here, this you may want to take a pause here because this is the total course outline. So here, if you look at the whole course outline, this is a very like tip of the iceberg. So from starting from Web Analytics 101, so we would be talking more, introducing you towards the online marketing facets and what is Web Analytics, who does it, who gets the benefit of using Web Analytics as a tool, what is the industry usage, etc. Then we will also be talking about metrics and in details. There are different types of metric within Adobe, like the traffic metrics, the engagement metrics, even conversion metrics, which is very important, calculated metrics, which is again a custom metric that you can do from your end based on your logic. So then we will also be doing a deep dive into metrics for different areas of the website, because not every section of the website will relate to one type of metric. So for example, like a shopping cart, you must have already been purchasing products on Amazon, Flipkart, and so on and so forth. So you always add a product to your shopping cart, and then you proceed on billing, and then you complete the transaction, but sometimes you abandon, right? You think that, okay, I'll do it later, or maybe you are getting some better offer on some other competing portal. So we will be talking about different metrics which are relevant to different areas. So we'll be talking about like shopping cart abandonment rate, the successful rate, and all those kind of things. And later on, we will also be diving deep into giving overview of other tools within Adobe Analytics, because Adobe Analytics is a part of the Adobe Experience Cloud platform. And that Experience Cloud is, you can think of it as a bigger bucket, and it has got a couple of tools within that. So some noteworthy tools where we will be emphasizing more in this curriculum would be the Adobe Workspace, then even Report Builder, which is a essential plugin for Excel. Then we would also touch base upon data warehouse, activity map, right? So then we will also be talking about the reporting and analytics tool, more in depth into workspace. How do we do different stuffs like sharing, building a report, creating a dashboard, configuring the alerts, sending it to your particular emails or even to yourself. Then next comes the segmentation and calculated metrics part. This is very important, because if you are able to successfully do segmentation in your reports, half of your answers for your business is already there. So it's very important. We will also talk about sequential segments, how you create segments based on different container types, different Boolean logic like and or kind of containers within the segmentation area. So we would also talk about that. We would talk about calculated metric. How do you use and create a calculated metric in Adobe Analytics? So then we'll be talking about report suites, like all the data that we capture goes and sits onto some report suite, which like a global report suite or a test report suite. And so I'll be telling more about what is a report suite and what are the different types of it. There are types like virtual report suite, which we term as VRS. Then there is a multi-suite tagging, roll-up report suites, everything in detail. Then we will be talking about debugging, because obviously after implementing, it's not like not everything is hunky-dory, right? So there would be some problems, some issues somewhere, and we need to fix that. Now, in order to fix that, we need to know what is the root cause. Where is it failing? So debugging comes into the picture, and we will be doing that in depth for desktop, and I will also touch base upon the mobile part. So now, then comes the variable and event part. Now, like I said earlier, like the custom variables would be there, custom events are there, even predefined or the standard. Both are the same thing. So even there are different types of predefined or standard variables, like standard, automatic, configuration, etc. So we will talk about when those are used, and what is the use case for using different types of variables. So then we will touch base upon market channel processing rules. Why do we need that? We will talk about the marketing channel manager and how to configure those. What are last touch attribution, first touch attribution, and all those channel details relevant topics. Then there comes the other admin related aspects. So that would comprise of, the different types of processing rules and how do we use it, and for all the kind of classification importing that we do, why do we do that? Some user management, like Adobe Analytics is very much controllable, and it's a permission and access based system. So there is a super admin, there is an admin. There are different roles like editor, viewer, creator. So we need to know who gets what kind of access. So that kind of things we would be covering in this topic. Now, lastly, most of the above outlines that you have seen, all the other topics, those are mostly into using how you use the Adobe Analytics tool, and most of the non-implementation part. But the last one, that is a tagging topic, wherein we will talk about how we use launch, and earlier we used to use DTM, so that kind of thing, and how the rules are created, rules are configured, and how do we fire an image beacon, what is the process of doing that, what is a pixel, how do we integrate different third-party tools into that, extensions. So that will be kind of a deep into the implementation part, but still the weightage for the whole thing, like you can see the other topics, those are like more kind of important to start with, because the concepts are above any other tool. So, and you can also read about this outline in details if you visit the MindMagic's Adobe Analytics training URL. All right, so now let's start off with the demo thing, and I'll start with the interesting stuffs first. So I'll start with 1990, when internet was born, and it was Sir Tim Berners-Lee who started the internet project. Then came the 1993 Web Trends, which was a server log files analysis methodology. And this you can term it as the early age of web analytics, server logs, I mean. So then comes 1995, when a company named Analog was found out, and it was launched, which was the first log file analyzing tool. Now, that year in particular was very exciting because Amazon and eBay, like revolutionary corporations, came into picture. So then 1997 is when the JavaScript-based tagging system were introduced, and the older server log analysis process was done with. So right, and Omniture acquired a company called Superstats, and they renamed it to, Site Catalyst. Then came the era of Google Analytics, when they acquired the UTM company, that's Urchin Tracking Module, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So you can also, in the Google Analytics implementation, you can sometimes look at the URL to find a parameter called UTM. So it's still being used, that you can check for yourself. So then comes the 2009, when Adobe came into limelight after acquiring Omniture and renamed it as Adobe Analytics. So even in the current, so sometimes when I get called for a job opportunity from Naukri recruiters or some other like LinkedIn or something, so sometimes they talk about like we are hiring a Site Catalyst engineer or Site Catalyst person, and sometimes they talk about we want an Omniture guy, or we want an Adobe Analytics guy, but these are all same thing. Like, so you have already known that from the history that I shared. So from that point in time, in parallel, there were more other popular technologies that came into the market. So in 2020, Adobe kind of sunset their old TMS system, which was DTM, and they have fully introduced Adobe Launch as a replacement, as an advanced version of the DTM, which had multiple new features. So some of us got access to Launch even before 2020. I think I started working on Launch from mid 2018, I guess. So that's the history, and here we are with the web analytics evolution. So now we'll talk about why do we need this kind of a web analytics tool. So you see, web analytics tools can help an organization in many different ways. So they get to know more about their customers, they identify lesser performing assets and optimize those, justify the marketing spends, and also opens up ways to mine data in larger level. So maybe they could build some models around that. So there are more use cases of web analytics tools, but these are just few important ones which you can see on the screen. So yes, there are multiple ways how this kind of a tool can help. So if your business has questions like how many new visitors are coming through, how many return visitors are coming through, what country are they from, what kind of device are they using, what kind of operating system, browsers, browser types, where are they landing the most, which are the exit page, what are the bounces on your page, which are the low performing pages or low performing campaigns, high performing campaigns, why? So why, what, how, these are all questions that this kind of a web analytics tool can answer for your business. All right. So now this is what I said as a when I said I would give you a little bit of glimpse about the reports that come from the workspace tool in Adobe Analytics. But before that, the top diagram that you see, I would like to, I mean, that's my personal choice, and I believe I always keep concept on top of everything. So here you can see how Adobe Analytics works in terms of the architectural aspect. So you as a visitor, when you land on a page which is tagged by Adobe Analytics, what happens when you land on that page? So when you land on that page, you generate a request, right? So every server, every page that you see, it's more like a request and response architecture. So what happens in here also, a user requests a page, the server sends the response, right? And as the page loads, data collection code, which is the analytics pixel, that I'll come later and I'll explain what is a pixel, why do we call it as a pixel. But yeah, so this data collection code sends an image request, which we also call as image beacon, and that hits the Adobe data collection servers. So then the image request contains the data that we want to collect about the visitors and whatever the visitor does on the site. So basically his interactions. Now Adobe stores the data in the report suite after processing, which we then make use of tools like Workspace and Report Builder, plugins and all those kind of tools to access and generate insights and reporting. Now, Adobe also can collect data in its server from different sources. So that brings us to the other uh, image that you can see is in here on the left-hand corner. So that's data collection process. Like we have the analytics pixel. So this pixel is one of the connecting bridges between a portal and an Adobe server, which is a one by one. So it's a very tiny one by one transparent pixel or an image that we also call it as, and that sits on the client's machine. So client on the end users never gets to see that pixel on their screen. So what it does is this actually sends the request to the Adobe data center and Adobe servers that in response captures all the data and everything for us, and we after processing we get those data in the form of dimensions or metrics based on what kind of implementation you have committed. Now, there are other data connectors and data insertion APIs and other data sources that you can connect with Adobe Analytics. Some are used to fetch data, web analytics data out of the Adobe suite and then push it to maybe a tool like a Tableau or a Power BI or a ClickTail, wherein there might be other backend data and you are running a model and maybe you want to combine all the data together to find out something, some kind of an insight. So those things are possible. And Tableau, for an example, it has got an industry enterprise level connector with Adobe Analytics, so it's seamlessly you can connect it. And you can also upload offline data sources, offline data within Adobe Analytics, and do further analysis on this. Right, and so on the middle that you can see, that's a reporting chunks, 3 reports, which I have actually pasted in here. So on the first one on top, you can see the key metric report. By key metrics, Adobe refers to 3 metrics: visit, unique visitor, and page views. So visit is something like all the sessions, all the new sessions that are happening on the site or on the portal. So then comes the unique visitor. That's more like it's a time function. So in the reporting side, you have to choose a time frame, and based on the time frame, it will show you unique visitors, people who has visited your site for the first time in that time frame. So there can be a weekly unique visitor, there can be monthly unique visitor, yearly unique visitor, quarterly unique visitor, etc. Then comes the page views. So that's more like the more granular, most granular out of these three, because it talks about the page level information. So the number of times you hit the page or view the page is counted as a page view for that particular page. So it's very granular, like you can understand. So in one visit, so visit also can be termed as a sequence of page views, right? So when I visit, I start a session on the portal. What I do is I visited 10 pages. So I have contributed to 10 counts on to the page view metric, 1 visit count, and me, because I had been, this is my first visit. So for that particular week or day, I am the unique visitor. So I have contributed 1 to the unique visitor metric. So on have added a report which is the top 5 pages by visits. So this kind of reports are easily, you can produce using the workspace. There you can see like the top performing pages on your site, or even the worst performing top 5, the bottom 5 pages by visits. You have all the freedom to do that slicing and dicing. Then on the right hand side, there is a total registrations complete. Now that's a conversion type of a report. So the business wants to know how many registrations happened on an hourly basis for any particular day. So there is a calendar module. You can select which time frame you want to look at your data. So and like you can see, there are different visualizations that you can opt for based on the nature of the data and how do you want to represent it. So workspace gives you like, I'm not sure, but more than 15, 20 types of different visualizations with meaningful, layouts, right? So that's a little bit of glimpse on the reporting and analytics part. Moving on to the next slide. Now, this is also important. Here, we're talking about the tag management solution, or TMS. Now, what happened is, like I said, the evolution for this kind of technology went to a great extent, and there had been different tags, like advertising companies were launching their pixel, and marketing people were introducing their marketing pixel. Analytics like Adobe, Google Analytics, Clicktail, Crazy Egg, social tags like Facebook pixel, Twitter analytics, all those kind of things were there. Now it was overwhelming for the website owner or the business owners, because they do not want to lose out on data of any sort, given a choice. Now that became a requirement for adding all of these tags to their website. Now, guess what? It's more like you have placed 5, 7 different tools on your website, and the end users are paying for it. How they're paying for it? Because these tags are increasing the load time for your pages. So end users are getting frustrated because it's not a very good seamless experience, right? You load up a page and it's like blank, and you're waiting for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You are bound to quit the browser and look out for some alternates, but that's a loss to the business. So what happened is, then came the TMS as a savior. So what TMS does is, TMS concept is, TMS will have just one library, a JavaScript library, and all other tools that you can see above, advertising, marketing, other analytics, tags, social tags, all of these can be installed on the back end of the TMS. So I mean the UI of the TMS. So you can use that to install all these tags and just give one JavaScript library to the website owner or the business owner. That's it. So once this TMS starts loading up, for the end user, it's very fast because it's only one script which is loading up. Further, TMS tool like Adobe Launch or even the prior Adobe DTM, this never used to block the content of the page from rendering. So in Launch, there are also facilities of doing an asynchronous library setup, which it will get rid of the domino effect. So one crash, everything crash. That doesn't happen with the current situation. So with asynchronous library, no resource wait for other resources or block any content rendering on the page. Now in the middle that you can see that there are other, it's a small glimpse of how we create a rule in Launch. So there are different components of rules. So obviously we need to provide a name for it. But the important part is the next two sections. So you can see there are events. So and there is a condition of if. So we are mentioning the criteria, like what to do, when to do, and all these setups. So events, condition, action, these are very important component of a rule building. So we will also be talking more in depth about these things. So in the key benefits, you can go through this, but I'll tell you the important and the most fascinating stuffs about the features and all. So there was a time when TMS could just have few tools as an option to be integrated with, like Adobe DTM tool only had options to integrate Google Analytics, Target, Nielsen Market Research, Universal Analytics seamlessly, and any other third-party tool required custom integration. I have myself integrated Facebook, Pixel Code, Google DoubleClick, Opinion Lab Survey Tool, iPerception, but with Launch, they have opened up a marketplace wherein you could just find your required tools and just install it in few clicks. Isn't that cool? So just treat that as your Play Store in Android. So you just go there and you find your app of choice and you install it. That's it. So also earlier we used to wait for developers for our tagging solutions to go live. We used to plan our analytics release in sync with theirs, but with Launch, we can do that independently and we don't need any developer intervention at times. So that's some few awesome things that we can achieve via a TMS. Right. So this is the image beacon that I was referring to. I just opened up an HP website. That's a page from hp.com. So here you can see I'm using the Chrome Dev Console. I'm in the network tab, and you can see different types of image beacons starting with S07, 092, and all those things. So I just highlighted the first one, and you see there are query string parameters, and there are so many in bold. These are all Adobe variables. Some of these are standard or automatic, and some of these are custom. So the one on the right hand side that starts with like C1, V2, C3, V3, these are part of custom variables within Adobe. And all these value, like you can see, it has got this site name in C3. So it indicates that it's talking something about that page I have opened up, right? So that gets deposited into the reporting for HP. So and they can do this kind of reporting based out. They can filter out by this page, and they can get to know how many people came onto this page and where did they go, what did they do, all those kind of things. So that's how a typical image beacon from Adobe would look like. All right. Now, like I was talking about the custom Adobe variables, I've kept a screenshot of that on the left-hand side. Now, there are different types of custom variables within Adobe. Some are, we call it as custom traffic variable, or the we term it as s.prop, because that's how we denote custom traffic variables. Then comes the custom conversion variables, which we denote as s.evar, or while we if I talk, I'll be taking names like prop evar, but what I mean by saying evar is custom conversion variables. Then comes classification variables, then comes the custom success events, which attributes to the custom conversion variables or evar. So there are multiple reasons why we need to have custom variables. So there can be, the maximum size limit of standard or automatic variables might be limited. But what if we want more data or bytes to get captured on a report? So we might need help from custom variables. So then there is a custom tagging requirement. Obviously, we will make use of custom variables. For data consistency, data backup, and even for classification, we need custom variables, because sometimes it's good to have a backup. Sometimes for an org level tracking, if I ensure that my company has like three different websites, and everywhere the page name is like something like channel hyphen server, something in the combination. So I would like to have that consistent across all my three websites. So that kind of consistency also can be achieved better through custom variables. Okay, so then, like I said, I will be giving you a short reporting idea about the dimension and metric. So this is a report. Okay, so this is a pages report which I have fetched. And on the left-hand side in blue, these are all report line items. So these are top 5 pages in my report suite for my portal. Now, you can see the first one, these are all ranked in terms of the volume. So the visits, unique visitor, all these metrics I have added along with page views. So you can see for that particular account login page, that has got, so every row is one report line item. So what I'm doing in here is, I have added a pages dimension report, and I have added 3 different metrics to look at the performance of each and every pages or each and every line items in here. So if you read that, if you go on a row by row basis, so what it would mean is, for that particular time frame, more than 6 lakh people visited that page, and more than 5 lakh unique visitors within that time frame were contributing to the number of visits, and in total they have contributed to that many number of page views. So that's how you read it row by row. So on the left hand side, the report that you see, evar3, which is a pages report. So evar3 is the actual custom variable, and we need to give a name of it. So pages is the name of it. So each and every variable that you see on the beacon gets translated into some report, and you need to know the name of the report. That actually comes with practice. You will get to know, because not the naming convention is not same across all other companies. Every company has their own way of assign which variable will capture what. So there is no hard and fast rule. So this is how a typical report looks like. This is, although as simple, I wanted to keep it simple for the demo session. All right, now then comes the debugging. Like I said, we need to know the root cause and why something is not happening, or any unrealistic, unexpected behavior. So what I'm doing in here is, like you can see, I have added a code on the right hand side which says _satellite dot set debug true. So doing that, so these are all methodology from the Adobe's implementation side. So all these functions and what these functions enable you to do, I will be talking about these more in depth into the course. That will help you to do multiple things with the app measurement library, and all these utility functions will help you to do this kind of things. So this particular utility function is helping me to understand step by step, what's happening behind my implementation when I, let's say, click on that particular item. So you can see the login button. So let's say on login button, it will start telling me, okay, this rule has fired. And while this rule has fired, what all next things happened chronologically. So it is clearing some variable, it is adding some variable, and then the values are assigned. Then finally the rule is also fired. All these status that you can see, this helps you to get closer to the issue. Now in red, on the middle of the screenshot, on red you can see that page URL cannot read property page URL of undefined. So these kind of things, although this is not an issue, but I just kept it to I can't generate an error for now, so I just added this just to tell you that this is how the errors might also look like, and you can start looking from here. Obviously this is not the only way where you start debugging. There are also other ways. We will also be talking about other debugging tools. This is just a Chrome Dev Console. There are other tools like Omnibug, Data Slayer, wherein we can look simultaneously into the data layer and the Adobe image tagging part, the query string part, everything together. So this is interesting, and it helps you get closer to the reason for the issues that you are seeing on your implementation. All right. So along with the course, I will also be, giving you short projects like this. This is more, it will be a scenario based, and although, we will be having more discussions about, like, we will also do some role playing activity for this kind of a project, because every role has certain things to contribute to a certain, particular project. So that has to be taken care of, and you need to be well aware of what kind of role and what kind of contributions you as an individual consultant can do to a project. So those kind of things, is covered under this course. This is also going to be quite interesting. All right. So now, as a requirement, there is no hard and fast rule. So it's kind of a 20 hours of course, and it's better if someone has a access to the Adobe Analytics or launch, because see, demo or trial version is not something what Adobe is providing at the moment, and company data is very sensitive in nature, so it's kind of illegal to share those data right away. So that's why I've been blocking some of the sensitive data or identifiable data. But it's not like you have to have a URL or access to the tool. What I can do best is I will also be trying to create a deck with real screenshots from the tool, which will mimic how the tool would work in real time. So that way, you will also be able to get a glimpse of the tool from inside out. And I'll definitely be there handholding throughout, screen by screen, and let you understand how the tool works and what is the workflow of that tool. By system requirements, it's basically you just need Windows 7, and I think all the modern laptops are well equipped. There is no such dependency on system requirements, but it's good to have an MS Office 2000 plus and Windows 7 or above, and a code editor which is also free. You can download it. So a Visual Studio Code editor, because in launch when we do some custom codings and all, it's better to use a code editor to do those kind of work. All right. So now, apart from that, I'll be providing some Adobe reporting documentation links, some implementation documentation links from Adobe, and I'll also try to get you some case studies through which you will be able to understand how businesses are benefiting from doing XYZ stuffs via Adobe Analytics or implementation part. That is also a kind of interesting part. All right. And in addition, we would also go through a round of interviews just to understand if there is any gap between your understanding. Because a real interview, trust me, I have been taking interviews for quite some time. Even combining last 2 months, I have interviewed like 10 plus people. And I would say, even if they are saying that they are experienced professionals using Adobe Analytics, but the concepts are not very fine, not up to the mark. So I think the market needs candidates who has a concept as strong as a rock, right? So that will sit for a discussion, and we'll try to evaluate how far you are in this process and how ready you are to face a real one, right? All right, and Adobe certifications are available in three ways. So there is a BP certification or a business practitioner. There is which is core for the implementation part, and there's an architect which combines both. So these are like, I think they charge you $150 each for each of these certifications, and I think the passing score is around 62%. Right, so that also gives you a boost if you are a job hunter and you want to crack into Adobe Analytics. Yeah, so these are kind of options that you can select. All right, so that brings us to the end of the demo. And so please share your feedback, or if you're interested in enrolling yourself or enrolling your friends or anyone, colleague or someone who is looking out for this kind of course, I think you are in the right place. And you can always reach out to the email and the contact details on the screen. Thank you for watching.